The last time we checked in with the 141-foot Expedition Yacht MARCATO, she was just returning from a 16,000-mile voyage to the southern tip of South America, cruising Patagonia and the Galapagos Islands. But having been back, she hasn't exactly been idle. Some of you may have seen MARCATO on Discovery Channel's Shark Week. And after watching this, I decided it was time to get an update with Captain Jason. Good morning, Captain Jason, the Yacht Channel. I wanted to check back in with you because I know you've been very busy. You recently took a trip to the Bahamas to do scientific work with sharks. That must have been interesting.
We partner a lot every year with an organization called Beneath the Waves. Dr. Austin Gallagher, who's one of the foremost authorities on shark research. So we've done a couple of trips with him. This year's was a little more interesting because we partnered again with Dr. Austin and Beneath the Waves, took the boat to the Bahamas. This time we brought some celebrities along with us, and we brought Discovery Channel, production company from Discovery Channel, and we filmed an episode of Shark Week. So it was a lot of fun. We had three great celebrities that were all comics. So obviously shared a lot of laughs. Made it what I think came out to be a pretty fun TV show. But most importantly, we got to do some research, got to tag a couple sharks, got to be hands-on with, I guess the biggest one we got for this trip was a 7-foot tiger shark, and got to be hands-on with it. Myself, Dr. Austin, the three celebrities are the first people to ever put a 360-degree camera on a shark. So we got to watch in 360 degrees what a tiger shark's daily activities are. So that was pretty cool. Almost the nicest part about the trip was, while COVID was always on our minds, it's kind of nice to not have to be as worried because Discovery Channel was involved, because the production company was involved, because SAG, Screen Actors Guild, was involved. They had their protocols, and so everybody that boarded our vessel had multiple COVID tests. It was kind of fun to be in a sterile environment where you felt a little bit more comfortable to be masked off or high-fiving somebody, not worried where have they been. It was kind of cool, and it kind of harkens back to what we were talking about earlier, where if you're an owner and you had a vessel like this and you wanted to get away from the world for a while, once your crew are all COVID tested, you put in your protocols, once all your guests are COVID tested, as long as you keep your distance, you become your own country, and your country can be 100% COVID free. And man, the trip wasn't relaxing. We were working our butts off, but that part of your brain could finally kind of step.
I like the little scene where you had the guy hanging from the crane over the side.
So the story with that was that the producers, if you didn't see the show, there was a story arc that one of the celebrities was this world-renowned diver, though the truth be told, the man's never dove before in his life. He made it look like he had this big set of double tanks and this outlandish dive setup, and then it was too heavy to pick up and put on him. So I jokingly said to the producer, well, let's just use the crane. And so I looked over at the producer and I said, how funny it would be if we picked him up with the crane and swung him over the side. And he said, well, yeah, let's do it. And the whole time
it was a good gag. It was one of the high points of the show for me.
It worked great, but I kept thinking at some point somebody's going to realize that I'm just the captain here, and I probably shouldn't be the guy rigging a celebrity to hang from my crane. But it made for a really fun time. And I think the boat was represented really well in the show. It really showed another side of MARCATO.
Nice drone work on their aerials.
They had phenomenal, yeah, they had phenomenal, as you would assume a professional production company would. They had some phenomenal drone pilots with us, and they captured some amazing footage. So kind of luckily for us, we were in Fort Lauderdale when this all kind of took off, and we weren't somewhere too far from home.
So your protocol is basically to keep the boat COVID free?
In terms of the boarding and disembarking procedures, we're logging everybody who comes and goes from the boat, temperature checks. The other one we're doing is pulse ox, so we're doing oxygen level checks on everybody who comes and goes. Obviously sanitizing. One of the great things with MARCATO is that the original owner took a lot of effort to make sure that the air was really clean and purified on board. So each area has its own air handler, so you're not sharing air from one section of the boat to another. All the major areas have UV sterilizers built into the ACs, excellent filtration. So once you're on board, we actually do a really good job of purifying the air and always have. So that hasn't been a big deal for us.
Now, there are some owners that are using their boats during this time as a place to live on board, as a safe haven for them and their families. How would Marcato be suited for that?
So if an owner wanted to just get on board and go away for months at a time, this obviously is a great platform for that.
So what would you say about Marcato? I mean, in your experience, because you have a broad range of experience from towboats to other European-built large yachts. In terms of seaworthiness and as the driver of the boat, what would you have to say?
I'll say this, it's going to be hard one day to go back to a traditional yacht. I'm sure a lot of your viewers know, but last year we did, almost 2 years ago now, we did 16,000 miles in 1 year. Right now we're nominated for the Voyager Award, which is part of the World Super Yacht Awards. We're super excited about that. Hopefully with COVID, we'll get to actually have that award ceremony at some point. They'll crown a winner. But, to be able to take a boat, leave Fort Lauderdale, and go do 16,000 miles in 10 months through Panama Canal, Central America, South America, Patagonia, break ice, and then a month later be in the Galapagos or Costa Rica. We obviously saw a lot of sea time. We saw a lot of significantly rougher seas, big waves, big wind, and the boat took it like a champ. She was built by a commercial shipyard, so she was built with the premise that a boat at the dock isn't making money. Ours just happens to be a yacht, but everything else that Hike Metal has built, if it's not at the dock, someone's losing money. And so she was built to be able to take out and go to sea and be on for a long, extended periods of time in comfort and safety.
So there are a number of vessels that are showing up in the market now that have the word expedition on them, but they don't seem to have the DNA.
Yeah, I actually got in a little debate about this the other day on social media. So, people, I think the word expedition yacht is becoming a cool selling tool. What defines an expedition yacht? I guess I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that Marcato, again, went out and did a 16,000-mile trip and could have gone another 16,000 miles, after maybe a quick yard period. I think the thing that marks us as a true expedition yacht is, yes, we have the look of a commercial vessel, which helps, but it's our range. I mean, we have an 8,000-mile range, 4 huge zero-speed stabilizers, that big 5/8 thick steel hull. So I think that some of the boats that are coming to market these days that are calling themselves an expedition yacht or giving themselves the look of an expedition yacht, what they're lacking is the fact that would you take your family, jump on that boat, leave Fort Lauderdale and head to the Northwest Passage or head to Antarctica or head to the South Pacific and feel, A, that you can do it because you have the range and the storage capabilities, and B, would you feel safe? Any boat does great when it's beautiful out, but if things aren't beautiful and things are going wrong, is your vessel and your crew trained and built to withstand those things? And that's what I think sets Marcato apart. Is this boat is set up that you can take her to those places and know that you're safe and you're going to get to come home and tell the stories later.
Thanks for the update, Jason. And that is a great segue into the technical tour, which you did for us a couple of months ago. And I'm going to run that now.
So we've just returned from doing about a 16,000-mile voyage from Fort Lauderdale all the way through Panama Canal and down to Patagonia. Absolutely one of the most amazing experiences of my life as a captain. I've been on Marcato for just over 3 years now, but getting to take a true expedition yacht and go to places like Patagonia, take a look at, here we are looking at the boat through an iceberg or glaciers or driving it through ice. Amazing time, my first time ever driving a yacht through ice. There's just not a lot of yachts that can do what Marcato can do. It's really a boat that is a luxurious boat. It's absolutely beautiful inside. Guests enjoy it. Guests have a great time. But it was built to go long places, to go far away. Whether it's to the South Pacific, you want to take it to the Northwest Passage, or you just want to go to the Caribbean, but you want to go and be comfortable and safe and not have to worry about rough weather or safety at sea, I think there's no better boat in the size range than Marcato. So right now we're on our top deck. One of the things we love about our boat is how high our top deck is. We're about 40 feet above the water, so you get a great view wherever you are. Big, wide, expansive deck, large sun pad. Back aft, we've got a 8-person hot tub. Incredible spot if you're anchored in Alaska or the Caribbean. You get an amazing view from your hot tub. VSAT on one side and CTEL on the other side, so we have TV. Pretty much anywhere you go in the world, you'll have TV as well as internet. So the boat is fully dry stack exhausts, meaning that your main engines and generators exit up here at the top. One of the beauties of this boat is how stable she is, and the reason she's so stable is because all the weight is low. The hull is a 5/8 thick steel hull. All of our fuel, tenders, ballast, all of our water is all kept down low. Up top is an aluminum superstructure, so she's very light up top. She's a 32-foot wide boat. She's got 4 zero-speed stabilizers. Having freshwater ballast, no salt water in the boat, but freshwater ballast allows us to move that water around to really adjust how the boat's riding. So if we're in a large head sea, we can move all of our weight forward. If you're in a following sea, you can move your weight back. Really gives you the ability to sort of fine-tune the ride of the boat for whatever sea conditions you're in. So here we are on our port and starboard wing stations. One of the things that's great from a captain's standpoint is whenever you're docking, coming into a port, you've got an amazing view from our wing stations. You can see pretty much from bow to stern. So our wing stations are midship. It's pretty unique. You don't see it in too many yachts, but from a captain's standpoint, it's incredible because as you're coming in and out of a slip or in and out of a marina, the boat's going to pivot on you. So as you're clearing a piling, you know that once you're clear of it, the boat's going to spin. It gives you a really unique feel when you're docking the boat to know that the boat's kind of pivoting on you. We're pretty unique in a 141-foot boat. We carry a 32-foot CV diesel inboard. We typically have a 23-foot inflatable diesel Nautica on the port side. But as you can see right now, we happen to have a submarine on board for some scientific research. We've got a 7-ton crane, 2 wave runners, kayaks, paddleboards, all the fun stuff you'd want. The previous owners actually brought on a mobile science lab, set it on deck, and went out and did genome sequencing. We've discussed bringing on science labs, dive chambers, movie editing studios. Really gives you a pretty cool opportunity to do some really unique stuff that your typical yachts just don't get to do. But in the working areas, we really kept non-skid decks, open beam ceilings. It keeps the look of an expedition yacht, but more importantly, it's easy to maintain. There's nothing hidden, so you don't have to worry about, is there rust behind a panel somewhere that you can't see on this boat. We really wanted to make it user-friendly, easier maintenance. When you're doing long trips, that ease of maintenance means less work for the crew, having to carry less crew, and ultimately less expenses for the owner. Any of the flat surfaces are Interthane 990. You never have to worry about rust because you see it. If you see a bubble, you can stop it. Whereas when there's fairing, sometimes by the time you see that bubble, it's too late. It's spread. So now we're in the captain's cabin. The captain's cabin on the boat is just after the bridge, which is great, obviously, when you're on long trips. She is a full commercial compliant bridge. There's redundancies for everything, so you've got 2 radars. You actually have 3 chart plotters, 3 independent GPS systems. Right here we have all of our GMDSS, so this is our global communications, everything from VHF, single sideband, everything to be GMDS compliant. Nice section up here for the guests to sit and have a coffee. So you have a camera system. Right now you're displaying 4 cameras, but there are 7 around the boat. So there's cameras, you can see all the different areas of the boat. The next screen you see here is navigational chart plotting. This is the one we use for navigation. We'll show you in a bit the one that we use for chart plotting and planning. 2 different radars. One's an X-band, one's an S-band. One is better for longer distance, one is better for shorter distance, one cuts through rain a little better, so you have both an X and an S. It gives you the best of both worlds. We've got 4 zero-speed stabilizers, so here's your controls to control your stabilizers, to fine-tune them as the ride requires. This is set up for depth right now, but it's also a secondary chart plotting, so we have a completely independent system should you lose one. Weather, Weather stations up top here. You can get your wind, humidity. So now we're on to my favorite part of the bridge, which is our digital chart plotting table. So this is basically, it's its own independent system, but I've got all the charts for the world right at my fingertips. Nice big display, easy, great for route planning. We are now one level below the bridge in the master stateroom. Obviously, full beam master, large picture windows, lots of space for guests, lots of space for crew, lots of space for mechanicals. We went with all stainless steel furniture, very heavy duty furniture, it's very rugged. We wanted stuff that if you're out in rough seas, guests could sit on and still feel comfortable. Every level is a full walk around. Having walk-arounds really makes the boat a lot safer for the crew and the guests when they have to move around, and again, a lot easier to maintain. There's no having to put on a harness to hang over to clean windows. The boat was built in 2006, but the interior is basically built 3 years ago as a new interior. This dining table is actually a single slab of stone, weighed about 900 pounds. Again, we're an expedition yacht. You know you're going to be going out in rough seas, so we worked closely with the team at Rybovich Shipyard to build a structure to hold the table that is actually welded to the structure of the boat. These are our fridge and freezer for our day use. We also have additional fridge and freezer space throughout the boat. So this is where the chef keeps the stuff he's using for the next day or so. 2 washers, 2 dryers in here, rolling iron, all the stuff the girls would need to keep the interior clean and organized. We also have an additional set of washer and dryers in the back for deck towels and things that the girls might not want us to bring inside. We do carry 7 crew full time, so you have 2, 2, 2, and then the captain upstairs. Again, a 32-foot CV diesel inboard. You'll notice in today's configuration we actually have a submarine on board. This is a Triton sub. This is a 2-person sub that can go down to 1,000 feet. We got approached by a scientific organization that wanted to go do some research in the Bahamas. They had 2 subs. We said, hey, we can take those. So here we have a 7-ton Pilfinger crane on deck. This crane is a beast. It can lift anything. Our CV weighs 5 tons. We lift it no problem. It is collapsible, which is nice, so it doesn't take up a ton of deck space. So now we've made our way down to the heart of Marcato in our engine room. So starting here, as you enter, you've got our air conditioning plant with a nice large workbench on top of it. This is all a custom design unit. We just put it in last year. To the right of it, we have our water makers. We have 2 3,000 gallon per day water makers. That's a total of 6,000 gallons per day of water maker. Marcato is powered by 2 Caterpillar 3508B engines. The B designation is a D-rated engine. So what that means is they've actually rated the engines down to 1,000 horsepower. Max RPM is 1,650 RPMs. Comfortably cruising, usually between 1,100 to 1,200, maybe 1,250 RPMs. These engines were really designed more for commercial vessels, large fishing vessels, so they were designed for long distance, long hours, slow churning, big propellers, reduction gears in the transmissions. They're really the work. In the center of the engine room here, we've got a hydraulic power pack. This hydraulic power pack will run our stabilizers when we're on anchor. So when you are on anchor, your mains are down. This will quietly run your hydraulics to keep your stabilizers, your crane, your winches all operating without the use of the main engines. Makes for a much quieter experience. So these are all the electrical panels to run all of our various pumps from firefighting, ballast, hydraulics. Everything is done on breakers, big, large industrial breakers. Again, the boat was built by a commercial shipyard. So everything you see is built more to a commercial standard. All of our valves are marked, lines are marked. Really makes maintenance a much easier experience on the boat when you go to a line or a valve and there's a marking on it to tell you what it is. You don't have to go get a drawing out to figure out where that's going or what it's doing. Yeah, so the boat was designed where you could pretty much access all of the wiring and plumbing pretty easily. So a good example of it is here. This is a main line. There's main lines throughout. These will go into your overheads. When we did the refit, we spent a lot of care in designing a headliner system that I can remove any panel in the boat. So every headliner panel in the whole boat can be removed. One of the things with a true expedition yacht like ourselves is being able to work on it anywhere in the world. It makes it safer and also more efficient to run, less crew required, less subcontractors required, because things are easy to access and work on. Port and starboard, we've got 99 kW kilopack generators. The beauty of these generators is that they are 99 kW, kW meaning kilowatt. So we can run the entire boat's load on one generator. You don't need to run a second generator. That saves on fuel costs, maintenance, less oil changes. The entire boat will run on one. They are mounted on insulation. They've got hospital-grade silencers, hospital-grade mufflers. So this is the main hub of our fire system. We have independent fire systems inside of our generators. All of our crew are trained in firefighting. I think there's no better boat in the size range than Marcato. It has really, truly been the highlight of my captaining career, the time I've spent on board her.
And that concludes today's podcast from the Yacht Channel, and we look forward to seeing you here again next week.